All right. Well, I must have done something right because in the corner it says it's now streaming live on YouTube. So it's 1 o'clock, and I know we only have about 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jennifer Rodriguez. I am the Director of Brand Strategy here at the University of Alabama, and I'll be moderating this breakout session. I want to welcome everyone to our breakout room, Can Higher Ed TikTok. Before I introduce our panelists, I need to take care of a few housekeeping messages. For our audience, please keep your cameras off and your microphones muted. Questions can be submitted in the Zoom chat feature, and I'll get to those as time allows. And then all the breakout rooms are being recorded and will be available in the on-demand catalog at secca.ua.edu for future viewing after this. I think I've covered everything at this point, so it's my pleasure to introduce Jake Terry, Senior Social Media Strategist at LSU, and Webb Lewis, Assistant Director of Marketing and Brand Strategy Social Media at Ole Miss. Welcome, Jake and Webb. If you want to open with an intro about yourselves and your roles at your institution, that would be great.
Jake, you want me to go first? Yeah, we did a horrible job of coordinating that, so.
That's all right. Let's let you go first.
Sure. Yeah. So, howdy toddy, everybody. I'm Webb Lewis here at the University of Mississippi. I work in our marketing and communications department. My number one priority and job is to kind of work in social media, help other departments, kind of serve as a liaison between our shop and other departments, and helping create their social media content when they need help, and then obviously orchestrating the main accounts and things like that. And then we run a big team of social media ambassadors that I'll talk about later. But yeah, I've been here 11 years. And so, yeah, I don't know what it's like outside of Oxford, but can't complain.
All right, I'm Jake Terry with LSU, like Jen said, Senior Social Media Strategist. So what I do in this office is oversee the main at LSU social media accounts across the board with the help of Corinne Richter, who is actually phenomenal with our TikTok. So if she were in town, she would also be here talking to you guys because she is a rock star with TikTok. And I told her I would give her that shout out, so I'm giving her that shout out. But one of the things, like Webb mentioned, my role too is to help work with communicators across campus whenever they need it, or just try to come up with new strategies and help them in any way I can. Besides also posting to the main LSU accounts, including our TikTok account. I've been in this office for about 5 years now. Previously, I was in LSU athletics for 10 years, but 5 of which was full-time before coming over to this side. So like Webb, I don't know what it's like outside of higher ed, outside of Baton Rouge. Been here a long time and loving it. So I said I wasn't going to try to blab too much, so I'm going to stop myself now because I know I could ramble on for hours. Jen, you're muted.
Figures, right? So appreciate that intro, and I'll let you guys get started. I know there's a lot to cover here, and I know for one, I was put in a supervisory role over our social media team in February of 2020. So right before the pandemic. So I've been trial by fire and been learning on the fly a lot of, unfortunately, through a lot of crisis communication. So we've been trying to plan a strategy for TikTok as well. And it's just been a hard thing to try to wrap our head around, to make sure that we can sustain it for, an extended period of time and do it right. So if y'all want to go into your strategies, and I know Webb, I'm really interested to hear the ambassador side of things too, because we've been trying to set that up here at UA as well. So
I really think, Jake, you should take it away here, because our account was kind of launched after my SMAs fell in love with LSU's account. So
sure. Yeah, I don't mind. We were fortunate enough to be early adopters of TikTok, kind got to give kudos to our friends at University of Florida. I want to say they were the first in the SEC to really jump on TikTok and start going with it. We really, it was March 2019 when we really were pushing Corinne and myself to try to get LSU on TikTok, and we got approval the end of that spring. And so we created the account, and then we just lay dormant for a while. We were soaking it in, trying to understand how to do this, and we wanted to make sure we did it right off the bat. And sometimes they say timing is everything, and sometimes that's true. Well, this was the case for us, because we launched our first TikTok on August 30th, 2019. And it was taking part of a trend that we had seen going on TikTok, and we used our mascot, Mike the Tiger, the guy in the costume, to put out our first video. And it was obviously right before football season, and that season ended up being pretty special for LSU. And with my background being in athletics, I'd reached out to them before the fall season started for football and volleyball and soccer, and said, "Hey, are you all planning to get on TikTok?" And they were like, "Well, not yet. We've seen it, but we kind of feel good about where we are right now." And I said, "Great. Well, we're going to post a lot of athletics on our TikTok to kind of fill in that gap for y'all." And if you ever go through our TikTok account, you'll notice a lot of our most viewed, our most viral, you could say, videos definitely center around athletics. There's a couple that don't, which is nice, which is great. We're excited about that, but a lot of it is football related, and a lot of it happened in that early adoption period from really, the beginning of September 2019 all the way through when the pandemic really started. And so we ended up gaining a lot of followers during those first few months, because we ended up making the For You page, the main page that people like to go to see what's trending and what videos are the hottest at the moment. We ended up making the For You page several times, and so we were really excited about that, and to see the account growth. And again, it was just one of those scenarios where the timing worked out in our favor, and we couldn't ask for a better start than to have a Joe Burrow led football team that was doing great and allowing us to really put out some fun stuff, as well as highlighting different campus events going on that were outside of athletics.
Yeah, for us, with all new platforms, I'm super hesitant to ever for selfish reasons. And I don't know how the platform's going to play out. Do I want to take on another platform that we have to create content for? Vine broke my heart years ago. So TikTok was one of those I was just really hesitant. But I've got this team of student workers we call social media ambassadors, and every day it was, "Hey, can we start TikTok today? Can we start TikTok?" And when you hear from your students that much, you have to start listening to them. So I started doing my research, and of course, the first thing they wanted to do was jump out of a plane over Vaught Hemingway Stadium with a GoPro on their head, because that's what LSU does. And I'm like, "Well, guys, we're going to shoot with a cell phone, go out to the campus and take some pretty shots." But so you start researching TikTok, right? And you get on that For You page and you start scrolling, and the next thing you know, 11 hours has gone by and you're still sitting in the same spot. And you start to look at the data. All right, well, here's where Gen Z is. They're still on Instagram, of course, but they've moved to TikTok. TikTok's got more monthly users now than Instagram, which is incredible considering how young TikTok is. So we jumped on, and we came on at a time where we were able to use it to promote our campus protocols for COVID, our mask wearing, our social distancing, our washing our hands. And we were able to turn things into dances and have some fun with that, because we were returning to campus, but campus was going to look, it's never looked the way that it did before, with the signage and the rules that we had in place. So we were able to use TikTok to kind of highlight some of that, and kind of piggybacking off of that, we turned our TikTok channel into this raw, this is student life at Ole Miss. It's shot by students, it's managed by students. I oversee the thing and make sure they don't put any, nothing crazy goes out. And sometimes they have to do a lot of convincing for me, because no platform has ever made me feel like this. I feel 100 years old every time I log on to TikTok. But it's definitely found its, we're finding a cadence with it, finding use for it. promoting our campus to prospective students who weren't able to come visit during the pandemic. So now we're showing that off to them, and now our current students want to put things that are unique to current students. So we're going to continue to play that kind of mindset with it and everything, and just using our students. So we have a student ambassador program. I think we all know that social media in higher ed is a all hands on deck job. In a campus of 4,000 to 6,000 employees, chances are there's only 1, 2, maybe 3 people that's full-time job is social media. So we lean into students. We bring them into our office to work with us for a semester. We have upwards of 30 that we now place across campus to use it, helping them create content for other departments on campus as well. And those are our boots on the ground. So they know the content, they know the trends, they understand how to do this. And nobody wants me on there doing a dance or anything like that. So we're using those students as much as we possibly can. And it's worked for us. So they haven't disappointed us yet. They're doing a great job with it. The platform is beginning to catch fire on campus. Our athletics, our baseball team's TikTok is phenomenal. Do a wonderful job with that. And then we have other departments and divisions that are starting to launch. I know that there's questions across campus. Should we do this? And it's all about finding your personality on TikTok. Every department can have their own personality and really show off this living, breathing thing in a way that you can't really get away with on other platforms. I have to boast about our School of Education's TikTok accounts. It's one of the best ones I've seen. They put so much time and effort into it. It's outstanding, and they're doing that on their own. So that's one of those things that you love to see as someone in my position. That's somebody you don't have to worry about. TikTok does come with its things you kind of keep you up at night, right? That give you heartburn. Think of all the different departments and divisions on campus. And you're scrolling through and you go, oh, okay, I didn't know the Center for Research for Technology and yada, yada created a TikTok account. What kinds of content are they putting out? So I would encourage everyone to, have meetings and have conversations with people on campus about their channels and what the goals are really. Who exactly are you trying to reach? Because if you're trying to reach researchers, yeah, they're probably on there, but that maybe we don't start a TikTok account. So that's kind of the route we're going right now. And like I said, we're still learning. We're still growing. We're still trying to find our footing with it. But as against it as I was, I'm the first to tell you I was 100% wrong in thinking that we didn't need one. It's going to be really beneficial for us moving forward with both prospective and current students.
So Webb, you touched on it a little bit. Jake, do you have a lot of other departments at LSU that are running their own accounts, or do you try to encourage people to basically feed stuff to you so that you can use it on the main LSU channel?
Mostly that option. We have such a big following right now in our account, and one of the things that when we first met with TikTok representatives pre-pandemic, one of the things they had mentioned to us is that the early adopters who were starting to really gain a lot of followers and really have viral videos were being very consistent. They were posting multiple times a week. And so when we first got going, we built out this strategy to really try to post a minimum of a couple times a week. And that's tough. Like Webb said, there's 2 of us, there's 2 full-time people, and we did have 2 student interns at the time who we utilized exclusively for TikTok because, authenticity is key. Prospective students and current students, they want to see students, and if there's other ways, there's other things we can do that make sense, like having research, have fun experiments on there, which we did do a couple experiments on there that were trending at the time. We had researchers and professors on there. Otherwise, we had our students in front of the camera because, like Webb said, no one wants to see me. I don't need to be up there doing dances or trying to be silly. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be real. And so we are very much like Corinne and I. We're so happy to work with anybody on campus here who wants to do something. And if they have an idea or if they want to pitch something, we can work with them. To try to map it out, really storyboard it and see how we can do it and have it be effective. And we've done that several times. We've worked with Residential Life quite a bit, and they've even had some of their students who were like, we really want to be in the TikTok. we said, sure, let's do it. Let's go. Let's work together. And again, since authenticity is key, we try to mostly use a cell phone. Every now and then we put out some videos that are pre-produced, and usually those are part of a series or something that is focusing on alumni or something like that, which we're going to roll out that next week too. But otherwise, we really want to shoot with a phone and try to be authentic with it. And so, and that goes for videos like that as well, working with our campus constituents. So yeah, that's the option we try to go, Jen, is I mean, if somebody really wants to create an account, okay, well, let's sit down and talk, because the one thing you can't do is just jump right in because everyone's doing it and then not do anything. I mean, that doesn't help anything. Or do one video and it not be, do one TikTok and it not be that, what we would like to see, and then leave it alone for months at a time. So instead, work with us, and maybe we put it out on our account. We can shout you out elsewhere. Like have people say, hey, go follow them, on their other platforms. Or if people want to create an account, let's work together and figure out if that's the best way for their particular unit's social media strategy.
So you talked, Jake, when you started about y'all jumped on TikTok, and it was during a time where there were some trends going on. And so how, higher ed sometimes can be difficult to be trendy, to be hip, or what, the younger audience wants to see, with the level of leadership that, might be a little nervous about some of that stuff. So do you run into issues where you have a lot of approval process, and by the time you get an approval, the trend is over? How do y'all handle that sort of scenario?
Webb, I'll just jump in real quick. Thankfully, when we were first going about getting the account approved to begin with, we kind of explained how TikTok works and who the audience is, and that's current students and prospective students. And that's more than any other social medium. That's what we're going after, and we have to be authentic. We can't be stiff. We're LSU. Let's be LSU. Let's be let's be a little fun here. And thankfully, due to that early success, we don't have a ton of oversight. Now we use our best judgment, and when our students shoot something, just like Webb said, you got to run it through us. We're gonna pick it over with a fine tooth comb there and make sure there's nothing inappropriate or off brand. But thankfully we don't have a ton of oversight, so we are able to really have some fun and not be slowed down. And sometimes we are later on the trends, again, because we're trying to manage all the social media accounts. We don't always catch something that you're like, hey, wait a minute, I think we can do this from our perspective and make it work, make it stick within the trend, but also be representing LSU. But thankfully, whenever we are able to come up with something, we usually can just go with it without having to really run it up the chain for approval.
Yeah, I can kind of echo that. We are the people above me have given a lot of grace to us in what we're able to do. We haven't given them a reason to not trust us in that space yet. And that's true of, something may go south eventually, knock on wood it doesn't. But for this particular platform especially, and I don't know if it's because a lot of those leadership types are not on the platform. So it's not something that they're taking in like they do Twitter and Facebook on a daily basis personally. It's not one that's going to pop up on a rogue Facebook group, right? And people are talking about it being inappropriate or anything like that. So I think we've benefited from that to a degree, and we haven't put anything out there I wouldn't put on our Instagram story or anything like that. But I think that helps a little bit. And, TikTok is so trendy amongst the students, and you can't help but hear about that. And although they might not be seeing all of the content we put on that platform, they do know that it is relevant. I think the flip side of that, and I'd be curious to Jake if you've experienced this as well, is, TikTok's trendy. That's where the students are. Let's use it to put out any message we have whatsoever. And you have to kind of push back. Well, it's not really the space to do that. And I feel like there's more of that going on than the conversation the other way around. Like, hey, we've got an idea, let's do this. So yeah, there's that. But as far as the jumping on the trends, that's the students. Look, I can't tell you how many times I've been woken up by a text thread from my social media ambassadors saying, "Hey, Webb, you need to post this. You need to say this when you post it. You need to do it right now." And I don't understand it at all. And I'm half asleep. I'm trying to decide, weigh the options, play devil's advocate, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to trust y'all this time. But if I lose my job, I have a child and a family. So the last time that happened, it went exactly like that. I got a text at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Post this, say until tomorrow, and just, it'll be awesome. And it didn't make any sense to me. I even Googled it. The trend was so short-lived that it hadn't made its way to Google yet. So I did it. I went to sleep and woke up to the most shared Instagram post we'd ever put on our platform before. And still no idea why. But that's trusting the students, and like Jake said, keeping that content as authentic as possible. But yeah, we've been fortunate to get away with not a lot of approval processes on that platform. Now, depending on the content on other platforms, that's a different story. But TikTok, so far, the light is green. So
that brings me to another point. Jake mentioned sometimes taking a little bit longer because you're trying to stay on brand. And as someone who has brand strategy under my umbrella, I am curious to know how you are able to stay on brand on a platform that is based on trends and what's going on at that moment.
For us, it's TikTok. Fortunately, you're not dealing a lot with graphics, so you don't have to worry so much with fonts and colors and lockups and all of that like you do on the other. I'm speaking your language now, Jennifer. Like you do on all those other platforms. But one thing that's very important to us is that the Ole Miss personality is consistent, right? So our TikTok personality is showing off that campus life, that student life, as a real living and breathing thing. And so when there are trends, what takes us time is trying to see how we can make that trend fit our personality. And sometimes we miss out because we just can't make it work. But yeah, that's kind of how it is for us.
Yeah, and in that, I would just echo that as well. We're thankful to have a really beautiful campus like behind us, and so it really that plays the background to a lot of what we've tried to do, especially early on. Once the pandemic really took full effect, we ended up losing our student interns during that time, and we were without them we were without any student interns for a while. And so that was tough. That made it a lot tougher to put out the same type of content we had gotten used to, the same TikTok style we had. And thankfully, we've been able to hire a few more student interns that started this summer. And so you'll see we'll start putting out more TikToks now that are going to have that real authentic look with current students. And so far, they've come up with some good ideas, but I'm like, all right, let's storyboard this out. Let's think this through before we go all the way. But they're excited, and that's great. That's what we want. And so, Jennifer, I actually forgot what your question was, but there you go.
It was, how do you stay on brand? So
perfect.
Close enough, I guess. Close enough.
How do you stay on brand? Yeah.
Us deal with brand quite a bit, as we all have signage in our background, and you're wearing your brand. So
there you go, staying on brand. No, I mean, we've got the colors and we've got the fun, and we don't want to necessarily play up the party school angle at all. But what we do want to do is be true to ourselves, and we do have a lot of great students, and they have fun, and we have great events, and thank goodness we'll have events again, real in-person events that people can have fun and get to know each other and have a great time, and that's something that we love trying to show off. And just like Webb said, I mean, if you're not showing current students and prospective students what campus life is like as a higher ed institution, you're missing out. And TikTok's where to do it, because that's where you can have current students on there helping show everyone else what it's really like and how fun it can be. So I mean, for us, that's it too. It's just trying to show that off and show it in an LSU way.
Sure. Webb, you talked about having about 30 students as part of your ambassadors, and I'm totally jealous about that because we'd even be happy with 2 or 3 at this point. But how do you go about recruiting those students?
So, when I took this over a few years ago, there were 2, and they did a great job just creating content, right? Nobody wants me picking the emojis, just like they don't want me on camera. So, that kind of got bigger as social grew and our following got larger and the operation got bigger. We needed more hands on deck, and we're an institution. So to provide students with an experience, an opportunity to come in and get a 300 level elective credit to serve as a social media ambassador, we just kind of built that out. And so at the end of every semester, we open up applications for students interested with experience or without. We want them to be able to get that experience here, and we interview. And what started as placing SMAs in our shop has grown into, you get an email or a phone call. Hey, any chance we could get an SMA? And it's the band, or it's the health center, or another department, admissions, another department on campus. So then we have these interviews, and our team looks at the applicants and finds the best place that they would be, the best fit. And then we place them in other areas of campus while keeping a handful for ourselves. And that's just been a perfect system for us. It's as long as you have the time and the flexibility to manage those students, and they're not that difficult to manage at all. And you're providing them with an experience, a learning experience, a resume bullet. This is a school, so it's all about being able to do that. And it's been fun. And like I said, we're gonna hit the fall with our largest group yet. So really excited about that. And I think it's something that'll continue to grow. So I'd love to have SMAs all over campus. And I know that there are departments that need it, because in higher ed, I think we all know that the communications and marketing folks several years ago inherited social media, right? They were already doing so many things, and it was like, oh yeah, we also going to need some social media accounts. Can you manage those? And while they're getting pulled in 1,000 different directions, if we can alleviate some of that in some way by providing them a student who can help in that space, then that's what we want to do.
We've had a couple of questions come through. I keep having to mute it because the doorbell keeps ringing every time somebody pop in. So we did have a couple of questions come through while you were talking about those student ambassadors. I think you mentioned something about them getting some credit, but as Jake also, I know you mentioned you have a couple. Are those any of those paid, or is that all unpaid, class credit, etc.?
So we have 3 currently, and we hope to add 2 more in the fall, and they are all paid. They are paid. And the 2 previously we had who started with us when we launched the account were also paid student interns that work for our office, and specifically with us in social media.
Yeah, we do 10 to 12 hours a week, so around 150 work hours a semester. They get a 300 level 3-hour elective credit. And that's one semester. And what happens more times than not, for example, there's one sitting outside my office right now. He has been here since he was a freshman and is entering his senior year. They don't like to leave. It's great work. And just like Jake, no 2 days are the same, right? So they're creating content one day, the next day they're extras on a Brett Young music video film shoot, because we're no 2 days are the same for any of us. So it's been great. And it'd be great to be able to pay that many. We wouldn't obviously be able to have 30, but I feel like we are providing a pretty good experience for them.
Okay, I'm going to go over back into the chat. One question came through that said, the TikTok algorithm is notoriously amazing. Are there tips or tricks that you use to make sure you're hitting that For You page and gaining new followers?
Yeah, I don't mind starting here. Yes, there are. However, like Webb mentioned early on, the influx of users for TikTok just exploded a year ago. When everyone was stuck at home and was the pandemic first got underway, TikTok experienced insane growth, and they were already experiencing incredible growth. And so now it's that much tougher. You have that many more creators out there spitting out fun videos that make it that much tougher to get on the For You page. But going back to what we learned from the fine folks at TikTok, and then what we've just seen with our stuff, is the few keys to growth would be definitely taking advantage of trends. So trending sounds, trending hashtags, but obviously you got to make it relatable to your brand. That's been a little tougher too. Early on, you were able to use any sound that you wanted to, and then once about a year ago, I guess with DMCA and TikTok wanting to be careful, they limited how many sounds that we could use. I'm not sure if Webb, y'all are experiencing the same thing, but if there's a really, really, really popular song out there by a real big brand artist, like a real name artist, we may not be able to use that sound. And so that's hurt a lot, because obviously one of the best trends is sounds. If you can make a video, make a TikTok using that sound that's blowing up and that's a really popular song, you've got a chance to make the For You page. And for us now, it's a lot tougher because we're limited. We're just unable to do that. And we couldn't really get a real reason why out of the folks at TikTok. But other ones we've talked about, authentic look. I mean, really, if you can use a phone and just try to do your best to have it look authentic, with edits and everything. It'll take some time, but that is something I would definitely recommend. Engaging and responding to comments. I mean, I can't tell you the number of people who are like, does the dream college or does the best college in the world respond? I mean, I'm sure every brand gets that. And if you respond, if you say, yeah, we do, then, you're more likely to see them go tell their friends, oh my God, we had someone in our last video do that. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded, so then they're going to go share that and they're going to get their friends to go, follow you and try to do the same tactic. And again, having creators that look like your audience. So if you can have students, if you can have students or even if it's researchers or professors who get it or who understand TikTok and want to be on there and have some fun with it, then I think that helps your cause as well, helps your case as well. And then using stats to kind of know what your audience likes, a little bit of trial and error at times. It's like, okay, well, they definitely love it when we do sports. They love that. So, if we can do something that can highlight that in a fun way that makes sense for LSU, then let's do that and see what kind of reaction we get and see if we can make the For You page. So those are just a few things that I would say.
Yeah, experiment. I mean, and what's frustrating, TikTok is probably the most frustrating of the social media platforms, is trying to figure out that algorithm. It is. Timing on other platforms is so key. On TikTok, it's like some days it doesn't matter at all, and that's a little frustrating. And what's even more frustrating is when you put in the time and effort to create a great piece of content, and it doesn't get a quarter of the views that the one that you threw together on the way to class gets the day before. So yeah, that comes from, and Jake talked on it, creating your own engagement. When you post something and there's those people, and the people are going to reply, they reply and they're like crazy, and just get in there and throw them a hottie toddy, a go Tigers, a roll tide, whatever, War Eagle, and just create that conversation, because they're going to come back, they're going to like it. And I really think that helps push your content out there a little bit more. But yeah, the sounds thing does create quite a roadblock for you. It is so frustrating, to the point where you almost want somebody standing off camera singing the song so that you can use the sound. But we haven't gone that route yet. But it does, because I know I get really excited about a potential piece of content, and then it's like, yeah, we can't use that. So there is that roadblock. But yeah, it's and they'll change it. They're probably changing the algorithm as we speak right now. It's probably changing, but keep consistency is key. This is that platform that when you send your group out to get a piece of content, where it be Instagram story, Facebook, Twitter, they're coming back with one piece. With TikTok, when they go out, they need to come back with 5 to 6 developed pieces to post, because you need to be posting every other day at minimum, just to keep bumping up that For You page, or creating your chances to be on that For You page.
I'm gonna jump down on one of the questions because y'all both hit on some comments and actually responding. But one of the questions is, how often do you have to clean up comments, or does it stay positive for the most part? And do you clean up comments or just let it roll?
We do not clean up comments. We don't go that route. Thankfully, it's mostly positive. If there are a few, especially on any athletics related TikToks we put out, there are always a few, usually prospective student age people who will comment and say, this school's better, or you guys suck. It's all about blah, blah, blah. And honestly, what ends up happening is a lot of other users reply to them and are like, no, you suck, which we don't really like to see that either. But the whole point is we don't clean it up, but we do engage with those who are positive. And typically at least once on every piece that we put out, someone says, this is my dream school, or does my dream school reply? And of course we're going to like it and try to reply as well and say yes, or give them the little hand wave emoji. So yeah, we do not clean up comments, but we try to engage with as many as we can.
Yeah, it was same. We don't clean up our comments, but we do get, and in the SEC we all speak the same language, right? So I respond to every Hell State, Go Tigers, Roll Tide, War Eagle with hotty toddy. And they'll come right back and say it again, and we'll go back and forth 20 or 30 times and that's all fun for me. Sometimes you'll get some other stuff that's nasty, but not too bad. In fact, the Arkansas TikTok account trolls me pretty hard on there. I don't think Ramona's on here, but yeah, so it's all fun, but there's some things I wouldn't respond to a Hell State with a hotty toddy on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, but TikTok, you can get away with it. You can have a little bit more fun. So I would encourage you to do that. But compared to some of the other platforms, the negativity it's small. It's very small.
There's another question in here about whether or not you know of any other police departments on campuses that have a TikTok. Or do any of your police departments participate in TikTok?
So I help our police department a little bit. I kind of help with their Twitter account, and I've helped them post a few things to Facebook as well, to the PD Facebook page. So we just created a Twitter and an Instagram for our PD. To my knowledge, they are not going to start a TikTok. If we want to do something, again, I will probably encourage them. Let's map it out and see if it's something we can do from our main university account. Otherwise, maybe let's try to use it somewhere else, maybe Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So no, as of now, LSU PD does not have one, and for now, they have not asked me about it. There are no plans to create one.
Same. Our university police department is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I could see them wanting to be on TikTok, but that's one of those and Jake's right. That's the content for the main account. If they want to create some content, let's create it. Let's make it awesome, and let's put it on the main account. I would really be interested to see how a departmental account like that could consistently create enough content to stay relevant on that platform. I can think off the top of my head some great content ideas, but I think you run out of that pretty fast.
Sure. There's kind of two questions that I think would wrap into one. What questions should you ask yourself before opening a TikTok to make sure it's the right choice for you? And then how often do you post on TikTok? Which I think is all part of the strategy side of things.
Yeah, I would ask, do I have the time and do I have the resources to do this? And one thing we learned right from the get-go, man, if you have not used TikTok before, it takes some time to really shoot it, edit it, put it together. And we talk about using cell phones. Well, just because we shoot it with a phone doesn't mean we don't also go and edit it. So Corinne, who is really our TikTok wizard, we'll shoot something. Our students will shoot something, or I'll shoot something, or she'll shoot something, and then she goes and brings it back to her laptop, and using that footage still kind of edits it together to make it look a little bit nicer. And so that takes a little bit of time. It's not a super long process. It's not like something our video staff has to do when they're putting together an official video out from our department, but it still takes some time. And then the resources, I would say, again, if you're going for authenticity, do you have buy-in from students or from faculty or staff who kind of know how to do it and can take that time to really help you put it together and put out some really good TikToks? So to me, those are the two massive questions you have to ask. And if the answer is no, I really don't, then I think that's something where you either leave it alone or you try to go about it a different way. In this case, maybe work with the main, the main account users like Webb or myself, or any other social media person at our SEC peers. So that's what I would say. And then Webb's mentioned this too. At least a couple times a week is preferable. During the fall and spring semesters, we really tried to do a minimum of 3 times and his maximum of about 5 times a week. And that was doing 5 a week was pretty rough. And we're going to try that again. And now that we'll have more student interns this fall, we're hopeful that we can generate enough ideas and create enough TikToks that we can do that. But definitely want to do at least a couple times a week is my recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? And then I like to ask why. Why do you want to be on this platform? And then something that's always good is tell them, can you give me a content calendar for a month? Show me what you would post for a month. Because when someone sits down and starts trying to pencil that out, you realize how much work it actually is. And like Jake said, when you're recording from a phone, there's still so much that goes into it. We don't put every spoken word on our social media accounts as captioned. And so that's always, that in and of itself is a big ask. It's a big task for us. So you need to figure out a way to accurately explain how much work goes into having a TikTok account. It's not sending a tweet. It's not pushing a link. You're creating, as raw and authentic as they are, these are produced videos each time you post one. So even if they're 6 seconds to a minute, it's a lot of work that goes into it.
All right. I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. And so kind of piggybacking on what you were just saying, Webb. So speaking of, are you using an editor within the app or editing in another program then moving over to TikTok?
Yeah, for us, it really depends on the video. If we can get away with getting it done within the app on the fly, then we're going to do it. There are those few occasions, welcome week, things like that. And this fall is going to be our first full-on fall we've had since having the account. So I'm really excited about that. That's when we'll take a little extra time to, we'll keep that personality and that rawness to it. But we're going to take a little extra time and pull it together, maybe even bring our videographers in and do something special with it. But if we can get away with shooting and editing from the phone, then that's the route we're going to go.
Yeah, exact same. Typically, like I said, Corinne does a lot for us, and she is a huge fan of Adobe Rush. So I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that, but it's fairly simple to figure out. Even if you're not a video whiz, you can use that to help edit your clips together and make it spruced up just a little bit. And she'll use that predominantly for most of our TikToks that go out, and occasionally we don't, and we're very thankful when we don't have to. But yeah, it takes some time just to get it through Adobe Rush and get it sliced up the way we want it to.
All right, and then I think we can knock out one last question, which I also was curious about as well, is are you also repurposing those videos on Instagram Reels, and how does the content differ if you're doing that?
We have not done that. We toyed with that idea, but then you get into the different personalities for different platforms and things like that. We we may do it occasionally when it fits, but that's certainly not it's not a one size fit all type of content thing for us.
Exactly like web, we had that same conversation when Reels was announced as well. Okay, should we jump on this or not? And we've been pretty excited with our Instagram strategy, and we've seen a tremendous growth in our account over the last few years. And we feel like we've got a good thing going there. And because TikTok has its own personality as a social medium, and we found that fit there, exactly like Webb said, we had that same conversation of, well, let's not just bring that over to Reels too, because that's its own separate thing. And our Instagram's a little bit different than how we handle our TikTok. And so we have not taken part in using Instagram Reels.
All right. Well, fellas, I enjoyed this talk, and I really appreciate y'all putting the time into giving us some insight in TikTok from the higher ed standpoint. As a reminder, this is being recorded and will be put in the on-demand content on secca.ua.edu, so you'll be able to go back and watch this again and see all the times that I tried to talk while I was on mute. And if y'all want to hop over to secca.ua.edu, Ryan Bradley with UA will be putting in some closing remarks as we close out SECCA 2021. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks, everybody.